Welcome to Essentially You, the podcast designed to help you build a meaningful career and satisfying life through applied positive psychology and coaching. Together, we'll gain clarity, strengthen our mindsets, examine our thinking, and find the freedom to thrive. Welcome to the show. Lao Tzu says, mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. And in this episode, let's talk about the power and importance of connections and how to master the art of being a great connector. Only 15 minutes into my walk, I began thinking, actually I had a revelation. Here's my revelation. This is much better than screens. I know, silly, right? I think that taking a walk, being in nature, and saying hi to my neighbors is so much more rewarding than any kind of technology. Now, in Nebraska, it takes a hot minute for the weather to turn friendly in the spring, but when it does, it's a fantastic experience with perfect temperatures, and for what seems like a split second, the mosquitoes actually keep sleeping and leave us alone. Life jumps into action. From house to house throughout our neighborhoods, like groundhogs, we emerge into the sunlight after a long winter's hibernation. You see, during the winter in Nebraska, we tend to lack a little nature and each other. The first outdoor walks of the season always remind me of how critical it is for us to connect and spend time with others. In today's fast-paced, often technology-driven world, becoming disconnected from the people around us is easy. However, studies have shown that maintaining strong, positive connections with individuals is crucial for our mental health, happiness, and overall well-being. It's essential to recognize that we are, in fact, social creatures. I don't care if you say you're awkward or if you feel disconnected. We are social creatures. Our ancestors thrived in small, tight-knit communities working together for survival. Today, while our lifestyles may look much different, our fundamental need for connection remains the exact same. When we are in solid and healthy relationships with others, we experience lower stress levels, increased feelings of happiness, and improved overall mental health. Connections and the improved mental health and well-being benefits of being connected are so important for us. Our physical health can also be positively affected because we found that people with strong relationships tend to make choices that are good for them. Emotional support can make people less likely to engage in healthy behaviors as opposed to unhealthy behaviors. And it's also worth noting that longevity advantage is observed with supportive relationships regardless of whether they're spousal, family, and friends. So, while we know connecting with others is essential to living a healthy, happy life, developing solid, meaningful relationships with people around us can be tricky. Understanding the importance of this can help us do the work of friendship, do the work of connections. And at work, this is even more important, as it requires something extra. Here's what I believe, and it's important we start here. All change happens within. Nobody just steps into the earth and earns a right to be connected. We have got to prepare ourselves and do the work to be connectable. And if you cannot change your inner world, you may fall victim to your own negative self-talk and irrational assumptions. Here is a foolproof way to make sure that you have what it takes to make your connections at work count. This is the equation, and I got this from the Speed of Trust from the book Covey wrote. He said this: competence plus credibility equals trust. Now here's the secret sauce. Trust is the glue that holds relationships together. If you want to have more trusting relationships, you must be trustworthy in two areas: your competence and credibility. If you can do this, you become a trusted link in the process. And the hard truth is we must first learn to be competent and credible But no one ever talks about that. So let me break that down a little bit. And here's the meat of the lesson. What does it mean to be competent? Well, my license plates say BU, and many of you who are around me know that. But the truth is, we have to be authentically ourselves and know our stuff, especially at work. You must be able to complete what you say you're going to do and in the time that you say you're going to get it done. This is hugely important to drive trust. The really great team members deliver on their objectives plus a little extra. I think the little extra is what helps us expand our relationship and influence at work. But competency must be the driving focus. That's why we cannot separate any other program from performance. We must learn to give our best to other people because that is what humanity deserves. When we hold back on our competence or we don't do that work we need to become subject matter experts or know our stuff really well, then we're not giving our full self to the job in front of us. So it's important that we not kid ourselves. To be competent means doing the work of learning and developing your skills and abilities to meet the objective of the tasks and jobs you're called towards. When you can do that, when you can be competent, then anything is possible. The second, though, is credible. And credible is more of a values-based thing. This credibility is really about consistency of character and how you live out your stated values. Now, credibility can be a little different from everyone because our values and morals are all going to be a little bit different, but you have to be consistent in how you live them out. You cannot be one way to one person and something to someone else. Consistency of your character helps drive credibility. Does that make sense? When you are stable and predictable, even if you're a little tweaky, you can make sure that people will understand where you're coming from. And if you're not catching people off guard by your actions, then you'll build credibility. You'll be able to be the kind of leader and friend and link that people want. We need to always be forward-facing, looking at things like biases and blind spots so that we can be credible, so that we know that we're humble enough to say, hey, I'm not perfect, but I need to grow in this area. And if we have a value, knowing what it looks like to really live that value out. So competence, being competent and being credible, that equals trust. And trust is the glue or the fabric that brings us together, that binds us together. It doesn't matter what community we are in or what we're doing for a vocation. If we have those two things and can drive trust, then we have a base to build relational equity from. Everyone wants to work with the best of the best. But to get there, we need to learn. How do we become that in our chosen field? What work do we need to do? Just because you got a title or a promotion, or you need to continue to do the work, and a lot of that work is relational equity. Friends, I think this is an important subject because connections are vitally important. In the book, The Good Life, that longitudinal study of happiness, one of the key findings is simply this, that connections really matter. When it was examined and what made a life well lived, it always came back to that secret sauce. It was the connections and the value we add to other people, and quite frankly, they add to us, that makes all the difference in the world. It's not money, wealth, status, all that other stuff pales in comparison. So, when we can understand the importance of our connections and we learn how to become trusted connections of choice, I believe that anything is possible at work. Let me end with this. All change happens within. If you want to be trusted, you need to be trustworthy. If you want to become it, you need to be it. You need to live it. You need to make sure that you become competent and credible, and that will drive trust, and that will help and influence the connections you have at work, how you're viewed, and what projects you get to work on. So, until we talk again, I hope each and every one of us can get out there and build tight relationships with people at work and beyond. Remember, it's important. We are social people. And so, until we talk again, let's put down our technology and take a walk in the park. The birds are singing. The time is now. Who can you connect with and make a difference in their life? Don't you worry at all. We got this. And now it's your turn to thrive in life. If you've liked what you've learned, please remember to leave a review and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. I'd really appreciate it. And if you have any questions about building your career and the many benefits of coaching, contact me by visiting markmathia.com. And until next week, I'm cheering for you.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.